Hey guys, welcome back to my vlog. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. So this week we're gonna basically continue with the COVID series, and I have with me here two people, as you can see. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I have on my left here a beautiful young lady and my boy over here on the right, and we're gonna basically talk about COVID again. Like I told you, this is the fourth part of the four-part series. So we're gonna talk today from the perspective of how it was to work during the COVID, because my man here, he was a trooper. He worked throughout the whole COVID-19 epidemic.
Essential worker here.
Yeah, there you go. And to my left, my friend here, she's new to New York. So I just want to get her perspective on what the experience in New York has been like throughout this whole thing. Why don't you guys introduce yourself?
Hey. Jumping in.
I'm Matt.
All right. So let's start with the lady. How was it for you during this whole pandemic thing? Tell the people where you're from and how long you've been in New York and how your experience was during the pandemic.
Gotcha. Okay, so hey y'all, my name is Evan A. Williams. I am from Arlington, Texas. I've been in New York for maybe living 2 or 3 years now. I went to school out here. That's how I kind of got acclimated to New York, and afterwards I just decided to stay. I went to Pace University, so I'm a dancer out here in New York. Kind of dealing with the pandemic. I not too long graduated from school, like 2 or 3 years out, and have been kind of getting my feet wet with my dance career, and so kind of having everything, especially right at the beginning of the biggest season for dancers and any performer really, is our biggest audition season, and to have that kind of all be halted really shook a lot of us. It's been different. Being away from my family has been a little complicated, but thankfully, because of technology, I'm thankful I was able to stay in contact. Even my grandmother, 95 years old, got like a cell phone and we FaceTime, so that's been nice. So some good things have come out. It definitely brought us all closer together, but there's a lot of fear and worry. Like just the other day, I found out my cousin in Louisiana who has MS just got COVID, and she's an essential worker and a nurse. So, you know, prayers for her and everybody else that's been dealing with it. I know it's up and down, you know.
Okay. So how is your cousin doing, by the way?
She's better. She was actually just released from the hospital. So we're just, you know, keeping her in prayer, and hopefully everything, you know, turns around for them.
Okay. So what about work? How is that going to work out for you as a dancer? What is the time frame for you to get back to work? Because the audience is essential to your type of work, right?
Right. Yes, for sure. I don't know. With theaters, that's a big challenge with live performance. For television and film, which is what I mostly do, I'm sure there will be more opportunities. But then that will also lessen because there won't be big groups. I recently, just at the end of the year, did a big group number for HBO for a show, and I couldn't foresee that anytime soon with, you know, the way things are going. They hired like 50 of us,
Right.
and there will be less opportunity for big jobs like that. So while I think there will be more television and film because live will be a little bit less, it won't be in the numbers, and that's a lot of what we dancers feed off of is each other's energy. So it's
Awesome.
going to be different.
Awesome. So let's talk to my friend here. Thanks for giving us that. By the way, when actually is that show for HBO you did is going to be on, so I can have people take a look?
Yeah, no problem. It aired the end of last year, I believe.
Okay.
John Oliver, he does Last Week Tonight. He did a big episode. I forget the name of the person, but it was anti-drilling for oil and all this different stuff, and so it was a great cause. So I'm thankful to have been a part of it. John Oliver, I would have to look it up to know the exact name of the episode and everything.
All right, guys, don't forget, check it out, John Oliver Show on HBO. So I'm here to my boy Matt now. So Matt, just tell the people what you do for a living so they can understand why you're an essential worker, why you are here in this craziness, man.
So I am an essential worker because I operate my father's distribution route for a cookie company. And I go day to day to different stores, checking inventory and selling as many cookies as I can. So the only reason I'm essential is because I deliver food. And even though you might think cookies isn't necessarily essential, but all food is, and all grocery stores are always open because they're obviously essential. So that's what I do.
All right. So how was the whole craziness of the pandemic? How did it affect your business?
It affected my business. It's probably the thing that affected it positively the most, and since I've been working with my father for the past 8 years or so.
And how so?
Because there was a mad rush to every grocery store you can imagine, especially when the pandemic first hit. It was mayhem. Everybody was rushing to stores, and this is before the social distancing was really mandatory.
Yeah.
Everybody rushed all the stores. It was mobs of people, and that made all the shelves of the stores empty. So that made me, or allowed me, to sell a lot more product in a much shorter period of time than I normally would.
Were you concerned when this first started about being in contact with people and maybe contracting the virus?
Me personally, I obviously, as you know, I have a pre-existing condition. I'm type 1 diabetic, which is a lot different from type 2.
Yeah.
You guys can look that up, obviously.
Okay. Could you just inform the people, educate them really quickly, what's the difference between type 1 and type 2?
Type 2 diabetes is the type of diabetes that most people have. When you hear diabetes, they generally have type 2. And that comes from poor lifestyle over time. And that, long story short, if you eat too much sugar and too much bad things, essentially, your body has trouble managing and regulating its production of insulin, and your body becomes less sensitive to it. So a lot of people with type 2 have to take medication, and if it gets very severe, they have to take insulin. They have to replace the insulin. On the other hand, I have type 1. My body doesn't produce insulin at all since I was 3 years old. I'm almost going on 30 years with type 1 diabetes, but I was blessed to have a mother who was a nurse and cared a lot, even though I was very hard-headed early in my life. I'm blessed to be in the best health of my life right now, actually. But when it comes to your question, I wasn't really too afraid of contracting COVID-19 because I don't know this for sure, but I have suspicion that I had it back before it was news, maybe in January or so. I had a strange illness. It felt like the flu for a couple of days, and then after I got rid of it, I bounced back just fine. That was probably speculative. I probably shouldn't say that I had it because I don't know. But I just wear my mask in and out of every store, in and out of all the cars I get in and out of. So yeah, that's essential.
So when this first started, I know it must have been really eerie being out when nobody else is. So just talk about that a little bit.
Oh, wow. It was honestly, from my perspective, doing distribution, traffic has a lot to do with my productivity day to day. When the virus first hit, it was a ghost town. And that was honestly the best case scenario for someone like me because I didn't have to be stuck in traffic for hours at a time, day to day. Trying to make deliveries.
Gotcha. What was the weirdest thing you saw during this whole lockdown that you were like, man, this is crazy?
I don't know. Honestly, to be honest, what's craziest for me is how successful I've been in this situation.
Yeah.
I have a severe case of survivor's guilt because a lot of my friends, especially my girlfriend right here, have been going through the worst case scenarios because people can't work and I can, and I've been driving, and I'm blessed and very highly favored, and I thank God for it every day. But I have probably a much different experience than most people during the pandemic.
Got you. So now that the pandemic is coming to a close, do you think that it's sort of opened opportunities for you? During the regular time, did you see a little bit more opportunities because there was less competition out there, maybe?
Well, the competition isn't really a factor because I'm exclusive.
Okay.
Only my customers could get my product from me.
I got you.
But things are starting to creep back to normalcy a little bit.
Yeah.
So the profit margins are going back to normal a little bit, but that's expected because there isn't a mad rush to the grocery stores anymore. People aren't confined to their homes as much as they were before. People are starting to go back out and live as opposed to before when they were just depending on the grocery store for all their food.
So, do you think there are lessons that you learned during this whole lockdown? I'm going to ask both of you that. So why don't you go first since you're talking right now?
No, go ahead.
All right, so Em, you go.
Repeat one more time.
Okay. Any lesson that you learned, the life lessons that you think you learned during this whole pandemic? What was the most important life lesson you think you learned?
Hands down, the most important was mental health is so important. I have had my own ups and downs with mental health, and I'm always like a big advocate for getting therapy, especially in the Black community. I don't think we talk enough about what's going on with our own lives and our feelings and our emotions, and we don't work that out always in a healthy way. And so sometimes we lack positive communication skills, and a lot of times through this lockdown, I really had to deal with a lot of deeper emotions, sorting through a lot of things that I want in life, and I think getting a basis where I could I didn't do therapy because of course we're not going anywhere, and I definitely didn't feel up to doing like some sort of talk space situation, but I journaled, and that was a big help for me, and it was something that I did in therapy, so I continued that. So definitely taking care of your mental health is always important. That's what I took away from it.
Awesome. How about you, man?
My biggest takeaway is health related. I urge everybody who's watching this to, if you haven't been the most fit person or you haven't been eating really well, take small incremental steps to better your health, because that'll make a huge impact on your life overall, because obviously the people hardest hit from COVID-19 are the people with pre-existing conditions. So I think my biggest takeaway is seeing all the lives that we lost during this tragedy, just for people to take care of themselves and put the best things into their bodies so they can get the most out of themselves.
Awesome. So guys, there you have it. You heard it from the two people on my left and my right. All right. So there you go. So that falls into the whole theme we had this whole series, is to eat better, take care of yourself, and stay focused, and make sure that you learn something from this whole lockdown. So stay tuned. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. All right, guys. See you next week. Peace out.